roads and with the country's geography. Connie?
Thank you, Melba. You know, when you spend time in a country and you grow to love the land and the people, that place becomes very special to you, such as my case and my three guests today. To my immediate left is Basil Comnas, who is a businessman who spent 8 years in Afghanistan. Next to him is Don Meier, also a businessman, who brought along some slides. And next to him is Phil Fagan, who headed up a youth center there, and he just returned from Afghanistan in November. Now, we were talking a little bit about the terrain, so if we could show the first slide that Don took. I believe it's, yes, that's of the
Hindu Kush mountain range in northern Afghanistan, which is a barren and forbidding barrier between Kabul and Russia.
Well, now, the next slide, I think, we can see the next slide, there's a road. If you
shows the Salang Pass. It's the world's highest tunnel, over 2 miles high. It was built by the Russians to military specifications.
By the Russians when?
In the 60s.
In the 1960s.
That's
Why
right.
did the Russians build the road in the 1960s?
For two reasons. Possibly for potential military use, and also because 75% of the trade of export trade of Afghanistan is with Russia.
Were the Afghans ever afraid of the Russians?
I think that the Afghans are very cautious. They've always been very skeptical of any power that has attempted to take control of their country, and the Russians have, even in the 19th century, have made attempts to try to dominate Afghan politics.
And the next slide, we'll see, I believe, a fortress, and this is how the Afghan people protected themselves long ago, and there was a battle there not too long ago. The people are fighting with sticks and stones and fists. They're very willing to fight to their death to avoid communism.
Well, the Afghans have a long tradition of defending their independence. Sons are given guns at an early age, and they know how to defend themselves. They feel like defending themselves.
Now, during the first coup, when the Russians first came in, Phil, you've told me horror stories about people who were Afghans who were taken away by the Russians and given shock treatments.
I have Afghan friends who were tortured, didn't want to talk about it, but said they were tortured. We could hear from across the street from the Ministry of Interior, we could hear screams in the night.
How were they tortured?
Some of them said they were cattle pronged under their genitals. Others said just horrible tortures. We had friends we would see on Monday, and on Tuesday they'd be gone, and we'd ask, where are they? And they'd say, their families would say, the police came in the middle of the night, took them away, we don't know why, and we never heard from them ever since.
All right, the next slide, I think we will see some faces of Afghan people in a buzkashi game. This is the national game. It's sort of like our football or baseball. It's actually like a polo played with a goat. And you told me, Don, they don't have this anymore now that the Russians are there.
Yes, because of the internal problems there, it's been canceled. It's sort of like canceling the football season in America. And this sport actually, I think, shows a lot about the pride and the spirit of the Afghan people and the rugged individuality. This originally was a war game, and it was a way for people to keep in shape.
Okay. Very quickly, the last slide, and I think this is very important. We see people here with the wheat harvest, and as I understand it, they haven't planted their wheat crops this year. Why? And is there going to be famine now that the Russians are here?
The reports I hear is that the Afghans are afraid of the land reform program, and they feel that if they plant the winter wheat now, the land may be confiscated from them and it would have been a wasted effort. So I think that we can expect in the year to come that there will be a tremendous famine in Afghanistan. And I personally can't see why the United States government, with all the grain that's left over from the cancellation of the Russian sale, why they can't use this to help Afghan refugees.
Okay, we've run out of time. I'm very sorry. Thank you very much for coming to share with us your knowledge on what we think is a very special place.
Thank you.